Hello students, welcome to the academia. Today I will discuss another endocrine gland, that is adrenal gland. So the adrenal gland is located above the kidney. So we know that we have two kidneys, and above the kidneys the adrenal gland is located. It is a triangular shaped gland, and this portion is the medulla, and this one is cortex. So the medulla is surrounded by the cortex. The inner portion, that is medulla, produce two hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine. So it is much more known as adrenaline and noradrenaline. The cortex produces other type of hormones which are known as corticoids. And the cortex composed of three layers. The first layer is zona glomerulosa. Number 2, zona fasciculata, and number 3 is zona reticularis. So these three layers are very important regarding the production of corticoid hormones. The most superficial cortical layer is zona glomerulosa, and these zona glomerulosa produce what type of hormone? They produce mineralocorticoids. The class of hormone is known as mineralocorticoids. The best example is aldosterone, which is the important mineralocorticoid. Now the middle cortical layer, which is known as zona fasciculata. So the zona fasciculata release glucocorticoids. And the best example is cortisol. And the deepest cortical layer, which is zona reticularis, they release weak androgens. For example, adrenosterone. So in the diagram we can see the cortex and medulla region, and the outermost is capsule. The cortex releases three category of hormone from the three layers. The superficial layer is zona glomerulosa, the middle layer is zona fasciculata, and the deepest layer of the cortex is zona reticularis. And the medulla is responsible for releasing adrenaline and noradrenaline. Next, we move to the three types of hormones, that is glucocorticoid, mineralocorticoid, and the androgens. Before that, the histology of these three layers we can see. So in the structure of zona glomerulosa, there are groups of columnar cells. So in the tissue we have seen the columnar cells, how they look like. Then comparatively small they are and thickly set parallelly to the surface. In the middle layer, that is zona fasciculata, it is the widest layer, and we found here polyhedral cells. And polyhedral cells means those don't have a particular shape. They are larger, and having the pigment granules. So these are the important features of this layer, and the cells arranged in radiant columns. So here also they are arranged in columns. Moving to the reticularis, which is the innermost layer, and there the cells are arranged in cords, which project in different directions, and they form the net-like appearance. So these three layers are visible below the microscope when we get a TS and stain it properly. And the three kind of cells are also release three types of corticoids. First of all, mineralocorticoids, which are synthesized in the zona glomerulosa layer. So the primary mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. They are secreted in response to what? In our body, we know that the hormones are regulated. They are positively as well as negatively. So when there is a stimulation to need something, then that particular hormone is released. So there should have a stimulation. So here they secrete in response to high extracellular potassium level. If in our blood, because we have a balance of the sodium and potassium in our body, and if the balance disturbs, as we know that somebody are suffering from the low potassium, low sodium, high potassium, so these kind of ions are very important. They play a very important role in our body, and each and every fluid of our body having these ions, which maintain the homeostasis. But if the homeostasis disturbs, then some kind of responses occur in our body, and they help to secrete some kind of hormones as well. So high extracellular potassium level if increases, then the aldosterone is stimulated, as well as if the low extracellular sodium level is there, it also another stimulation for it, and low fluid level and blood volume. So these kind of indicators stimulate the production of the aldosterone. Now, what the aldosterone do? Aldosterone affect metabolism in three ways. Number one, they increase the urinary excretion of K+. So if the K+ is excreted via the urine in much amount, so there may be some kind of regulation which combat the high extracellular K+ level, as well as they increase interstitial levels of Na2+ and increase the water retention and blood volume. So they also help to retain the water. Generally, if the water is held in the body, then the blood volume raises. So these are the ways how this aldosterone works, but there is a mechanism inside. These are the physiological roles of the aldosterone, but deep inside there are the mechanism lying. Moving to another system which is very important for our body. So in the diagram we can see the presentation of the whole system next, and this system is known as renin-angiotensin. The name of the system is renin renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. So next we move to that system. So in the diagram, the renin-angiotensin system is shown. The RAS or the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, RAAS, is a hormone system that regulates the blood pressure and the fluid balance of our body. When the blood volume is low, the JG cells of kidney secrete renin. That renin stimulates the production of angiotensin 1, which is then converted to angiotensin 2 that causes blood vessels to constrict, resulting in increase in the blood pressure. So these things are also showed step by step. Angiotensin 2 also stimulates the secretion of the hormone aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. So angiotensin 2 which stimulate the aldosterone, and how they are stimulated by the low fluid level of the body. Aldosterone causes the tubules of the kidney to increase the reabsorption of sodium and water into the blood. Generally, we know that in the kidney tubules there are reabsorption of various things, and why they are reabsorption? Because they the kidney produce urine from the blood, so already the absorption occurred, and now there are reabsorption. This increases the volume of fluid in the body, which increase the blood pressure. So this is the system which help normally in the regulation of the BP. But if you have high disturbance or disbalance, then we have to combat it by taking medicine. So renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system is the very important system which is carried away by the hormone aldosterone. So today's video having the brief introduction of the adrenal cortex and one of the hormone category, that is mineralocorticoid. So hope you students can understand. In our next video we will discuss about the other two glucocorticoid and androgens of the two other layers. If you have any query and question, you can ask or can comment in the comment box. Thank you.